I'm thinking like in this bull run, hopefully Revolut will acquire a lot of users in UK and also in other countries, and the other banks will copy. And then I predict that in the next bull run, which means 8 years from now, there will be a custodian Bitcoin banks. Now this is a truly custodian wallet, so they have the user will have their own public address.
Assalamualaikum.
Wow, wow. Waalaikumsalam.
Can you introduce yourself?
Yes. My name is Rizky, and I'm a Bitcoin educator in Indonesia. I met Hasan in the Bali last year on the Bitcoin conference, and currently I'm working also a fiat job as a project manager in a bank, Jago Bank in Indonesia. So yeah, looking forward to talk and teach the Indonesians about Bitcoin. Why? Because I believe this is our best weapon to fight riba.
Perfect. Thank you for the introduction. So let's start with riba. Maybe can you like give a brief introduction about riba and what do we mean? Like basically, riba is usury in English, but
Yeah,
what does it mean and what is maybe its implication on society, maybe to the non-Muslim listeners?
yeah. Sure. And so riba, but literally, I mean Hassan can correct me on this for sure, is a increase. Okay, so it's an increase. I just learned it's not only the interest in lending, but it's also an increase when we transact. When we transact, but we do not give a equal amount. So we let's say we buy X and the seller lower the amount of the X, then it is also a riba. I just learned from that. I might be wrong. So
Yeah, I think
basically,
maybe it's just about sometimes, yeah, some like
mm,
some trade agreements, yeah, can have some riba in it.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a unfair exchange basically, and why I believe it is bad, and the hikmah or the wisdom behind the prohibition, a strong prohibition in Islam, is that it will make the rich richer and the poor poorer. So it will divide the society, and the worst thing is that it happens gradually. So if it is like a suddenly, then obviously we will be against that. The problem is that it will happen gradually and you won't feel the impact immediately, and then suddenly boom, the social crisis. Why? Because yeah, basically if you let people to make money by lending the money, right, make the money only by having money, it will divide people into two camp: the one that can lend money and the one that will need money, the poor. So the wealth, the hard-earned money from the poor will be transferred to the rich. That's basically, and we can see it from a lot of angle, mortgage, everything. But that's the simple explanation of why it is bad.
Yeah, I mean, like as you explained, like basically, some people are actually putting in the work, and
Mhm.
money is supposed to be the place you store your energy. So let's say you work in
Mhm.
1 week, then this like you have this pay,
Mhm.
and this
Mhm.
pay is basically equivalent to your energy that you spend. You can then
Yep.
spend it on food, on your family.
Mhm.
So if someone else is providing this money without any work,
Mhm.
basically creating it out of thin air, like what the banks are doing, then
Mhm.
basically it's impacting society and creating increasing the divide and yeah, creating a divide. So very interesting. But how can ecosystems like Bitcoin be a solution for this from your perspective?
Very interesting question. So you mentioned about bank, right? And in my description before, I just said about people who lend money and people who borrow money, right? So basically, this is the fact that happens now currently. I believe there are only 5% of money in circulations cash. The papers and the coin. The other digital, right? So I just learned like a month ago that for a bank to lend the money, they even don't need any cash or any reserve at all. Like they can create money just by the fact of someone applying for a loan.
Yeah, I think before it was 10%. Now a lot of countries they have it like zero. So basically, it's
Yeah.
literally like creating money out of thin air.
Yes, yes, yes. That's the thing that was quite shocking. I thought it was fractional reserve banking. Money need to come first, and then for a portion you can lend it. But now it used to be like that, but now zero. Okay, and that's why it's really, this is another aspect that I haven't covered when I described riba. So it also incentivizes rich who have means of production, who have a factory, etc., to increase consumption. If you are in Indonesia and you see like, oh, there are a lot of advertisement about, like, let me say the brand from Home Credit, from Aku Laku, Pinjol, online lending. So business ruling class, they will love that. Why? Because it will increase revenue. People will buy at the expense of their future earnings. The fact that we allow this riba, and on the whole system of the central bank, of the funding of the corporate, the factory, it will increase division between the rich and poor. And where does Bitcoin stand? That is your question, right? Bitcoin can remove or minimize riba by educating people to save, to put their wealth not in the fiat money but in the Bitcoin. How this will help? If they put it to the fiat money, they put it the money on the banks, which means that they will finance the system. The money will be used by lending again and again. So if they put it on the Bitcoin, which is something that like similar with putting gold in your saving, no one will touch it. Thus, the bank will have less capital. And if this phenomenon, this habit becomes widespread, a lot of people are doing it, then I believe the central bank will realize the value of Bitcoin. If the central bank realize that, and also with the help of pressure from the people who already know and save in Bitcoin, the central bank will of Indonesia, let's say, will make Bitcoin as the reserve currency. Why? Because they have gold now as a reverse currency. Only because the fact that used to be like that gold is seen as valuable. If they see Bitcoin as another valuable thing, they will they will put Bitcoin as a reserve currency, and then they will learn that, oh, if I put this asset, my treasury is increasing because the number, Bitcoin is limited, and then the game theory dictates that every institution, countries will buy, will hold, so it will increase, and thus the portions of fiat as the reserve currency, because we have Indonesia have dollars, pounds, yen as the reserve currency, of course. The portion of gold and Bitcoin will increase, and the portion of fiat will go down. And what it will lead? Sorry for taking a long time. What will it lead? It leads with the fact that, with probability that banks will realize, oh, I cannot no longer print money.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically like they can print money because money doesn't have any backing, so they can. That's why they can print it out of thin air. But
Yeah,
Bitcoin is the main medium of exchange, or like the main reserve.
yeah,
They basically
yep,
cannot print it out of thin air. So
yep.
we have to have like budgets and all these things. And
Exactly,
actually, it's
exactly.
not a far-fetched thing because we see countries like El Salvador and other
Yep,
countries, they
yep,
already have this in reality. So, and they
yeah,
are flourishing. So El Salvador before was like, they call it, I think, the murder
yeah,
capital of the world. It was very poor, unsafe. Within just a few years, this changed the whole perspective on the country. If
yep,
nothing else, it actually just gave people hope.
yep,
Their currency was like, they basically didn't have any currency. They only had the US dollar.
yeah,
So right now they have both US dollar and the Bitcoin. So they give
yes.
people some hope that they can hold a currency that's not controlled by a foreign power or not
Yeah,
depreciating when it's local.
yeah, totally agree, totally agree. For at most, I think two bull run, and then we Indonesia and also the global south, the poor countries, see El Salvador increasing their treasury. Of course, the others will
Yeah, but just to
will.
stop you here, so I don't think like a lot of people would say, including a lot of my Indonesian friends,
Yeah,
would say Indonesia would group it within the poor countries, but actually Indonesia is one of the 10 richest countries in the world. So
yeah,
yeah, so this is very interesting. Like Indonesia have a lot of potential, just need
mm,
like maybe better planning, and hopefully in the future
mm, mm,
it can
mm,
flourish. So is it okay if we shift a bit from the perspective about riba to learning, because the banks are not all bad in terms of like, let's say at least technology, right? Like we see
mm,
all these new banks in various countries in the world. they are taking over the traditional banks. Why? By providing faster services, lower fees, and even like much more user-friendly experience, right? Like previously, I remember maybe like 10 years ago, if you make like an international transaction, you had to go through the Swift system, right? Right now, we have solutions, something like Wise and a lot of other new banks that
Yeah.
make it seamless, make it like this transaction seamless. So they are actually a competitor to Bitcoin itself, right? Because maybe 10 years ago, Bitcoin was already like providing a use case for this, but then they are competing with this. But if we focus just on the user experience, what can we learn since you already have like some experience working in new bank? Like, what can we learn from new banks about the user friendliness and experience that we can transfer it to the crypto apps and the crypto ecosystem? Because maybe the
Yeah.
crypto ecosystem now is a bit complex, right?
Yeah. So my company, Jago Bank, it is well known of its pocket system, so that you can create an account without any administrative stuff. You can have multiple accounts, and you can shut the accounts also. So you can put your dreams to that account. Or this account is for saving for my son's education. This one is for paying the bills. You can have a better financial planning with that. So yeah, I think wallets can copy that, and I know that I'm a user of a Blue Wallet. We can have a lot of wallets there. So, but there is no way to put, let's say, to put a simple emoji on the wallet and look at the wallet in the whole as a whole, and then look at the accumulation of the money of the sats in the wallet. Yeah, I haven't seen any wallets like that. I think if you ask me how this two can integrate, I already have a personal experience, Hassan. So I used to live in UK for one year, and there I become a user of Revolut. In this Revolut bank, I can buy crypto. I can buy a lot of coins. I can buy Bitcoins, one of them. I can easily withdraw that Bitcoin to my wallets. The fee is
Wow, I
quite,
didn't know that. I knew you could buy through it, but I thought it's
yeah,
just like a derivative. It's not an actual. Oh, it's
yeah,
very nice.
yeah. It is actual. So of course it is. It's not that you have wallet. It's not that you have an address. So it's not a custodial. It's not even a custodial wallet. So it's more like exchange without you see the whole or orders. So yeah, you can buy the fixed price. I don't know where the Revolut get the price. Yeah, you can buy and sell, and the experience is good. Even though the fee is quite high, I think. Why? Because it is on the face of the conventional bank. When a lot of people see the Bitcoin logo and then see the ups and down, they will feel what is it, more secure, have a little risk to buy compare on downloading exchange and then sending rupiah first or dollar first to that. So there are a lot of steps. This one is more seamless, and I'm thinking like in this bull run, hopefully Revolut will acquire a lot of users in UK and also in other countries, and the other banks will copy. And then I predict that in the next bull run, which means 8 years from now, there will be a custodian Bitcoin banks. Now this is a truly custodian wallet, so they have the user will have their own public address.
So you think what is the motivation for banks to actually adopt crypto? Because maybe some of them will see it as a competitor. Like I know
Yeah,
Wise.
yeah.
Wise, when they first started, they had the mission to facilitate transfer. They were very actually, they didn't have crypto, but the founders and maybe the company itself was very, like, not at least not against crypto. But then
Mhm.
they turns out like they realized that maybe it's like their competitors, so then they didn't interact with it, and then they started to restrict it. But why another bank like Revolut would like adopt it? Like, why did they adopt it in this manner?
Very good question. I think it's a game theory, similar as what I said on the countries level. So in the at least for two bull runs, Indonesia government and Egypt governments saw the increase of El Salvador wealth because of their Bitcoin mining and reserve. We will copy El Salvador, and same as the bank. So knowing that let's say one bank like Revolut attract or acquire a lot of users because of its Bitcoin features, they will copy that features.
So you mean the market forces basically?
The market forces, yes, game theory. And then after that, one bank creating custody wallet, truly custody wallet, and then the other, if the people loves that, the other bank will copy. So yeah, again, back again, the
So
key is,
basically,
yes,
if one bank
yep,
creates a non-custodial wallet, then all will follow. It's actually similar a bit to the game theory that, or like the market
yeah,
forces that happen in the exchanges themselves. I remember maybe in a couple of bull runs before, a lot of exchanges were just derivative. They didn't allow you to withdraw. Now almost all exchanges, except maybe a couple that doesn't allow you to withdraw. Everyone else allows you to withdraw.
This episode is sponsored by DegreeSign.
CoinExams platform was purpose-built by DegreeSign to be one of the best-performing platforms in the crypto space.
DegreeSign is an agency developing web products with a long experience of building products from scratch for maximum performance and stability.
Start today. Just email make@degreesign.com.
I think PayPal also maybe like they are following also in the footsteps maybe of Revolut, or maybe they just like they see the market need in the US. I think they allow also in the US to buy Bitcoin and Ethereum, something like that. So yeah, it's very interesting trend.
I don't know about that before. I mean, was new in Bitcoin. I just experienced. This is my second bull run. So in the first withdrawal from like mountain goats.
Obviously, there was exchanges that you can withdraw, but there was a lot. Like it was common that some exchanges you cannot withdraw. It's basically just for trading.
Yeah.
So they were marketing it as like a trading, like almost for day traders, right? But a lot of people already turned off from the trading because they already burned. Like let's say, for example, they couldn't match the professional day traders. So then this business model became almost
obsolete.
So that's why now it's mostly non-custodial, like they can allow you to withdraw. So okay, so building on that, I think maybe the main element that you touched upon is education, right?
Yes.
If the people have education, then they not only can pressure, but also actually can change the fact. So how do you think education come into play in this ecosystem?
Yeah, I think Indonesia is quite lucky to experience monetary crisis. I think I can tap into that while educating Indonesians, especially the older populations.
Just for context to the people who are not familiar with Indonesia, maybe you can give them like a context.
Yeah, so we experienced the Asian financial crisis. We, the Asian and also South Korean, we had a lot of capital flight from our region to US, and because of our financial deregulations, the easing of riba in the 80s, there are a lot of money but not in the real sector. The economy is fragile, and when little capital flight from our country to US, and boom, our currency experienced hyperinflation. Also with South Korean. That happens 1970, 1980. Oh, sorry,
1998 and
yes.
1997, yeah. Or at least since that time, $1 is equal to about like 1,500 rupiah, and I'm sorry, 15,000 rupiah, and it's been the same within the last 20 years. It's gone up and down, but it's in this range. And it's a huge drop from previous.
Very huge. So now, I think if I may, want to back again with the point of banking and riba. What I'm interested to know your opinion also, Hassan. Like, if bank is forced to do let's say Bitcoin custody wallet, then wouldn't it mean that they need to change their business model? Because before they can play around with the money, with the wealth stored by the users. But now, knowing that this is a custody wallet, and the users can also track the public key, right? The amount of the Bitcoin, whether it is gone or not. Do you think that it will reduce riba?
I think it will reduce riba, but not only that, the banks will still find a way to make money, because today exchange is making money. And also not only that, new banks, a lot of them, they have also the traditional loaning business model as well, but they make a lot of money from fees. So for example, even though they are fee free for the most, like the simple things, but for example, if you make a transaction, if you let's say for example, if you set up an auto pay for your bills, they have this special fee. So they have a lot of fees. So basically it's an actual exchange of value. So they give you value, like they give you a service, and then they get money for it. So it's like harder. They have to earn the money instead of basically, because riba is basically like free money. So instead of getting free money from maybe the poor through the pay letter services and all these things, it intensifies these banks and institutions to actually create value, so they can get like a fee for it. So I think obviously Bitcoin adoption will help a lot with the minimizing riba. Also education in general, like if you educate the people about the harmful side effects of riba, then it will be, even for like if someone doesn't believe it like religiously, but if they can see the logical impact of it on the society. So it's very harmful. Like a lot of people would say there is good debt, But yeah, debt works maybe for 1% of people. They're taking advantage of the 99% left. Like especially stuff like simple things, like for example, they tell you credit card points, right? Like how do you get these points? By paying on time. Okay, you are smart enough to do that, but how does the bank make money when they give you all this free stuff? Because they take it out of the other 99% of people who lose in the system. So it's not unsustainable system basically. And we can see all the failure for the banks, and I expect like during this next few years, like there will be a massive if not like an eclipse of the whole system, because it's totally unsustainable, especially now that they removed anything left in the like the fraction reserve system. So it was 10%, which is horrible already, and caused a lot of crisis for a lot of banks. But now it's 0%. It means that the bank don't have any money. So it's crazy, actually. It's a crazy system. So yeah, hopefully banks can pivot starting now, and they don't wait for the collapse, because it will be already too late. And the people will have an alternative instantly. So basically, the people will still need always to have an account. They will still need to save their money somewhere. And crypto, Bitcoin specifically, will be there to save them. So it's the message for the banks to get their act together, basically, to because they cannot fight this. It's an unsustainable system. So even if crypto is not there, the banks will collapse. But luckily, the people have an alternative. So they have to adapt, basically, for it. So yeah, how about like maybe you can talk a bit about like education, back to education, like if you can talk like what is the steps that we should take in our local communities, like there is our meetups and all these things. What is the steps that we can take everywhere in the world to educate the people about Bitcoin and how it can solve all these issues?
So based on my experience, this is an insensitive issue, because the fact is our religious scholar and government still declare that crypto is haram, forbidden. So it scares my friends who are religious. So they don't even want to learn about the Bitcoin at all. When I said, but oh, this is Bitcoin, or no, sorry. So my plan is to start not from the Bitcoin, but from riba. So if you're talking about riba, we can align. We agree that in the Quran said that if you still taking riba, then you are declaring war with God and the prophets. So it's very strong stance, right? Then I open up, tell them about our financial system, which I think almost of Indonesians, like almost of people in the world, don't know how money is created, right? So when they learn that it is tightly related with riba, hopefully they will want to learn more. So first is not starting from the Bitcoin.
Good idea, actually. I never thought about that.
Sorry,
like,
what?
I was thinking like, because I had a similar issue like with my more religious friends. When if you talk to them about crypto, they will be turned off immediately, because especially in like Saudi Arabia and some countries, they are very vocal against the crypto ecosystem as a whole, even though it's legal in most countries. But still they try to make the people avoid it. And actually they do that with all the technologies. Basically, in a way, they're keeping Muslims in the
Backward.
Because even I remember when phones came out with cameras, they said that it was haram. And then literally, I remember vividly when I was younger. So and then obviously after that, when the TV came along and invited them to come on the TV, it became halal. So so it's I just worry that they basically impact a lot of good entrepreneurs who can impact the system positively. And not only that, the users, like, I mean, Muslim users are basically the most people who need this, because we have the US homogeny, like all over the world. The US dollar is the dominant. And we can see like a lot of things that the US government is doing that maybe we don't agree with. And we're still supporting it because we are based on this US dollar. So it can be also like this angle, in addition to riba. So in addition that all this money is based on riba. So it's very interesting. So at least if we cannot just spend crypto, at least save in Bitcoin. So basically, you can like protect your wealth, if nothing else. If even you don't believe in any of this religiously, you can think of it from a practical standpoint. Money is always losing value. So the only way, because a lot of people would even look at, like, let's say in Indonesia, a lot of people are looking about the conversion rate between the rupiah and the dollar. And they will think, oh, the rupiah is very stable, like compared to other currencies. So maybe we save in rupiah or we save in dollar. But the fact is that the dollar itself is losing officially, according to the numbers, maybe 8% each year, which is crazy. So,
Oh.
but in reality, actually, it might be losing a lot more because they printed a lot more money than they calculate. So yeah, so it's a very interesting area. So how do the people reach you?
Yeah, they can go to website. The name in Indonesia is Sila Kelima. I have a Substack, so silakelima.substack.com. You can go to that website and contact me there.
Thank you so much for this information. We'll add it in the description, inshallah. And yeah, have a nice day.
Have a nice day.